All right, folks. Well, I think we're going to go ahead and get started. My name is Davey Warner. I am the Council Program Director for the Pacific Skyline Council. Had the pleasure of meeting several of you over the past year, but also plenty of new. However, we're meeting for the first time. I know I've exchanged emails with a lot of you recently. Just a couple things about how we're going to be running this meeting. I am going to keep everybody on mute just to try to make sure we're managing the call well and keep it quick and efficient and get everybody off the phone and computer without taking a whole lot of time out of your evening. But if you have a specific question or anything, please feel free to shoot me an email or send me a message through the platform. And we'll try to answer as many as possible this evening. Otherwise, the plan is we'll answer them offline afterwards. The other thing that we'll be doing after we're done with this presentation tonight, we are recording it, so we will be putting a link on our website for anybody who wasn't able to join us this evening to be able to view the presentation and the meeting and see what we talked about. The goal of this is the first time we've done an online leaders meeting or any meetings other than the May leaders meeting in Palo Alto. And there's a couple of goals that we have with this. One, between this meeting tonight, an online meeting on March 15th, and then the May 6th meeting, our goal is to communicate early and often with everybody so that everybody has a good idea of what to expect this summer, and we can try to make sure that everybody has the best summer camp experience possible at Camp Oljato. I am still working out details on how we can do the in-person meeting online as well, but that shouldn't be an issue for those folks that are traveling from far away that can't make it to Palo Alto on May 6th. That's where we'll be going over final details for the summer and making sure everything's good. The goal for tonight is primarily to give a brief overview of the program that we're planning for the summer. As I said in an email recently, it was a personal goal of mine to get the Leader's Guide out about a month and a half ago. We did not hit that, and that's largely due to me just having unanticipated things having to deal with in the first year in a new council, new job. So I apologize for that, but what we're going to do tonight is do an overview of the program, the merit badges we plan to offer, the schedule. And then after the meeting, we're also going to send out a survey sometime tomorrow just to get some feedback on what we present tonight, and because we do want to make sure that all the units attending Camp Oljato this summer have the best program for their boys and everything we can to make sure that happens. So what we're presenting tonight is the current plans and what we intend to do, but there will be a chance to offer comments if there's anything that you want to comment on after the meeting with that survey. We have a number of units that attended Camp Oljato this past summer, but we also have a good number of units that did not attend Oljato this past summer. Some of them are brand new to the camp. Some of them attended 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago. So some things have changed. We're doing some things a little differently, and we want to just take this opportunity to go over all that and make sure everybody's up to speed and everybody has all the newest and latest and greatest information. So after that lengthy introduction to the meeting, I'm going to go ahead and get started. First, so the other two people that will be talking this evening are Wes Mathis. He's going to be our camp director this summer. He was our head commissioner last summer, and he also has a lot of experience at a number of other camps, including working at our council's own Putter Scout Reservation for a couple seasons and some other camps. And then our program director, Riley Davis, has also got a lot of camps, including, and correct me if I'm wrong, Riley, you ran a high adventure program somewhere, is that right?
I did. I helped Wes out at Camp Lowell.
Okay, thank you. So both these guys actually have some good high adventure experience in some remote areas, but also a lot of experience just working programs at summer camps in general. So we're really excited to have both of them on board to run our program this next summer. So what we're going to do first well, we'll just go over kind of the agenda for the meeting. The first thing we're going to do is a program overview for 2017. So we're going to do a general overview, go over some highlights, what merit badges we're going to be offering, and then also the week at a glance schedule. I am going to turn it over to Wes and Riley to discuss all of that. So we'll just get going with it right now.
Awesome. Well, as you can see, and those of you that were there last year know, we have the day divided up into morning activities, afternoon activities, and evening activities. The goal of that is to keep scouts engaged. We all know what happens when young boys don't have anything to do. They get in trouble and they let their imagination go wild. So this is a way to keep them doing things that are productive and things in which they'll learn and have fun. So in the morning, we have campsite inspections, and part of the Troop Friends' job is to help the troop learn what it is that we'll be going over. And then from there, the senior patrol leader can help direct his troop and help them get ready for inspections when commissioners or other staff members come out. Commissioners will always meet with senior patrol leaders, and we're looking at finalizing a time when we can have a meeting each day with senior patrol leaders. And this.
Hey Wes, sorry to interrupt you. Are you on like a speaker or something? There's a lot of echo coming through.
Let's see if we. You still hear the echo?
That's better to me.
Okay. Yeah. So we have a meeting with our control leaders and commissioner. Commissioner will go over everything that the control leader needs to know to be successful. We'll go over all the activities the control leader should be involved with. It'll go over what the senior patrol leader needs to relay to his adult leaders. So the idea behind that is to give him some real leadership experience. And then, of course, at following breakfast, we have our classes where the boys can go out and go to their classes that they signed up for.
Wes, sorry. That echo, that didn't last long as far as it...
Does it sound better on that?
All right, sorry, folks. So if you heard that, Wes and Riley are going to dial in on the phone so we don't get that echo that was going on. So they should be in here relatively quickly. And we'll get them going here. Give me 1 minute. All right, Wes, looks like we got you back. Can you try talking?
Yeah, can you hear me better now?
Yeah, that's a lot better. Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry about that, folks.
All right. So as I said, we have our merit badge classes. The boys will get signed up for those, and they'll have 3 merit badge classes in the morning. Or 2. We're going to get into the details of the schedule in just a little bit. And then we have our open program time in the afternoon. As it says there, it's where they can work on merit badges, and they can also go to the other program areas, get some different experience, and enjoy the camp to the best of their ability. It's what they choose to do with it. The reason we have that is to sort of have a more structured time in the morning and balance it with some time for them to do what they desire and take advantage of the facilities, as well as earn other merit badges if they would like. During the evening, we design it sort of as a bonding time for the scouts with their unit,
so they can work together as a troop on service projects, on skits. They can enjoy campfire. We also have opportunities to go over the scout oath and the duties that a scout has, and to sort of motivate them that way and help leaders as they're teaching their boys the values that they should be living. So with that, that's our basic overview. We'll have Riley. He'll talk about some of the highlights that we have.
Thank you, Wes. Yeah, so some of the program highlights that we do have the Honor Troop Award. That's something that we try to help our staff members throughout the week facilitate their troops in achieving that award and prepping them so that at the end of the week in that final ceremony, they can receive that Honor Troop Award. The camper totem is also a very important part of what we do. The totem is actually super important because not only is it a way to motivate the scouts to participate in certain activities throughout the week, on that totem there's a leather cord and they can get a bead for different activities that they do throughout the week. But also it's our way of monitoring who comes in and out of camp. If we were ever to see an adult come into camp without a totem, that's kind of our way of knowing to send them straight to the office and verify that they're supposed to be there in camp. So it's a security measure and at the same time a fun way to recognize the scouts and what they've done that week. They always love going home and explaining the beads to their parents at the end of the week and showing them all the different activities that they did throughout that. The Fellowship of Oljato and Tribe of Oljato are recognition programs that are there for campers that come back year to year. It's kind of cool to be, as I know many of you are longtime Oljato, and for those of you who aren't, we're excited to bring you into this fellowship. But it's a way of recognizing troops that have come multiple times in that way and kind of acknowledging that they have that loyalty to our camp. The campfire programs are definitely one of the highlights for the boys and leaders. It's a time at the very beginning and end of the week where they can not only unwind, get to know the staff, but also enjoy themselves. And we always try to end the campfires on a note that'll send them back to camps ready for you guys to put them to sleep and hopefully not have them too riled up for the rest of that. The nature shooting sports, the waterfront, we have some amazing facilities out at Oljato, and we're going to do our best to make sure it's staffed with the best as well. We understand that no matter what the facility is, bottom line is it's not just you guys, but the staff that's going to make that experience for your boys, and we're going to work hard to get you that. I can't really see the bottom of it. But so when it comes to the waterfront, let's see. Okay, we are very, very fortunate to have such a wonderful sailing lake at our camp. It's used for gauze all the time, so the sailing facilities are prime. But also, this is one of the only camps that I've worked at that has the water skiing merit badge available. So that's a really interesting aspect to the camp and quite the blessing for our scouts. Trail to First Class is actually the program that we have set up to facilitate the younger scouts who are starting to just get into the scouting program and need help on those requirements leading up to their first class. The Voyager program is set for our 14 and older campers. What it is it's more advanced activities such as the zip lining, more sailing involved. For those scouts that may already have a good chunk of the required merit badges done, they are able to participate in that program, and it gives them kind of a more high adventure feel without having to go on a week-long trek away from the rest of their troop. Now, what we are really excited about, it's one of the top highlights for this year, is actually our hike day. We are really excited about our hike day this year because Wes and I have worked at multiple camps, including our council's own Cutter Scout Reservation, that have not only implemented hike day, but it has been an amazing facet and one of the highlights of their camp. We understand that throughout the week, this unit is going to be all over. The scouts are signed up for different merit badges. They're going to different activities during free time. The leaders are trying to support them in all those things. And yes, we have certain things like campfire where it brings us together, but the hike day, one of the main focuses is unit unity. It's a shared experience that the troop has all together as a group. Undoubtedly, it's going to be a hard thing, and one of the coolest parts is because every single group is going to have a struggling scout, and it's amazing to see how the troop can rally around those scouts, how the senior patrol leader can practice delegating authority, can practice delegating responsibilities and caring for that scout, and how getting through that experience together really can bring a troop together. One thing that is super important to us, as we were looking over some of the standards that the National Camp Association has when they come to inspect us and accredit us as a camp, is one requirement is RP 156, and it talks about how while merit badges are an important part of the resident camp program, they're not the main purpose of Scout Camp. And it talks about, in the interpretation, it says that merit badge coursework should not consume the majority of a youth's waking time on any program day. It also says that when the camp accreditors, when they come, they're told to look and ask if the camp recognizes this distinction and will provide opportunities for growth, leadership, and group development aside from merit badges. We feel like this is something that really sets us apart and is really the best way we can promote growth, leadership, and group development. To get those scouts out into one of the most beautiful wilderness that we have here in the United States, give them a challenge, something hard, and to teach them to do hard things together, we believe is an irreplaceable aspect of our camp, and we're very excited to implement it this year.
Thank you. Awesome. I would just like to say a few things on Hike Day as well. As Riley said, it's a wonderful opportunity, and it will be a highlight for those boys. Right now, what we know is that we will have various hikes offered for experience of the scouts. So as a troop, you can decide which hike you will want to go on, and we'll have our guides ready to take you out. And of course, you can always, based on how your troop is feeling, you can always return. Most hikes will be finished by the afternoon, and so they will continue with open program area in the afternoon when they return from camp. And right now, with the Forest Service and the scheduling, we're working out how this will work, and we will be hoping to get some of your feedback, and we're looking at the logistics of the number of campers and everything like that. But we are encouraging all troops to consider Hike Day. Right now we're looking into the logistics of making it optional or part of the program. And so that's part of the meeting tonight. We'd love your feedback. We're willing to learn. But as Riley said, we've both witnessed this program in play at camp, and it is a tremendous opportunity for the scouts that they may not have the opportunity to get otherwise.
And just so this is David, just to tag onto that again, like Wes said, we will be asking for feedback. You know, anytime we add a new program, especially one that has an effect on the schedule or anything like that, we do want to make sure we get some feedback from the unit. So that will be part of the survey. I've been seeing a lot of questions coming through about Hike Day as we've been talking about it, but that will be part of the survey, and we'll be looking for comments and feedback on that. And but it seems like a great program. I've never worked at a camp that had it, but I love the idea of being able to expose all these scouts to the High Sierras in that way and provide that opportunity for everybody. So,
and something that I forgot to mention, as I've worked at various camps, as I've seen Hike Day implemented, and then I worked at Oljato last summer, and one thing that I saw as an advantage to implementing it at Oljato specifically, well, one, of course, is the Sierra Nevadas. They're very diverse, and you get to see different parts of them. But the other thing is it gives a chance for the scouts to have a break from the monotony of routine. And they get that mental break from the rigors that they experience as going every morning to classes. And it's something that awakens them. And then when they go back to merit badges the next day, they're always fired up and ready to go. So we did have a question. Someone mentioned opportunities for adults. So we do have various trainings offered, and this was one thing that many adults really liked last year. We had a good instructor working with the adults for the IOLS training as well as a wilderness training. But we also have programs that are offered in the various areas. For example, adult leaders can go to the waterfront and they can be certified in safe swim defense, where they'll learn all of the guidelines and regulations that the Boy Scouts have to keep swimmers safe. We also have safety afloat, which is the same concept, only with boating and being out on open water. We also have BSA Lifeguard, which is available. That is a more intensive training. You'll have to dedicate more time to that, but our waterfront director will be certifying. With that, we do look at the numbers of people who sign up for it. It is hard. It's hard to have a waterfront director who has many obligations to be teaching that class when there is just one person or something like that. And so we do look at the numbers and see that it fills up to be able to teach that. And Davey and I will be working on the logistics of how that registration process will work. And then we have our position-specific trainings. So that's for the leadership positions and specific duties. Like I said, we had a good instructor for that, as well as the introduction to outdoor leader skills, which are taught during the merit badge hours. And we'll have announcements for that, and our instructor will let all the adult leaders know when that's going on. And that will never interfere with the adult leader roundtable. So often what is taught in adult leader roundtable will go hand in hand with what you're learning in those trainings. And ultimately, we have Climb On Safely. Climb On Safely is much like Safe Swim Defense and Safety Afloat, where you're learning the 8 principles for climbing and how that should be operated to run safely. And so you'll go home more knowledgeable in what the BSA requires for climbing, and so that it's done safely. And our climbing director will be available to certify adults in that if they choose. Of course, we have service opportunities. That was one thing that many adults, that was one thing that I really liked about Oljato, is I saw so many adults come ready, gung-ho and ready to serve a camp that they love. And so we'll have service opportunities. All you got to do is talk to Riley or I, or the head commissioner, or one of the maintenance staff, and we have tools, and we'll have resources available. Just discuss with us what your ideas are for service, and those will always be there. And then, of course, adults can come ready to enjoy the activities along with the boys. They can go to the waterfront. They can go to the shooting range. They can go climbing, participate, and cope right alongside their boys that are doing it, and enjoy the high Sierras to the best of their ability. Right. So our merit badges, as you can see, we have 45 classes available. Some of the merit badges that you see there, In our leaders guide, is one thing that we definitely wanted to improve this year, letting troops know which merit badges will be required for a fee. We're trying to keep most of the merit badges so that you don't have to have one. But we do have, for instance, with the shooting sports, with motorboating, we have some fees that will be listed in the leader's guide, and that's to cover ammunition and fuel expense for the motorboat. But we have a lot of merit badges in the nature area where they can go and learn nature skills, forestry, fishing, geology, environmental science, which is a required one. We will also have in the handicraft, art, basketry, wood carving, the things you would expect. But we also have cooking, which is also one that is important for scouts to learn. On our waterfront, we have so many opportunities there. We will be having advanced sailing. So our waterfront director, he's got sailing experience, and Riley, our assistant camp director, also has considerable sailing experience. And so the boys will be able to go out on the catamarans, on the Vicky, as well as the Picos. They can also earn the small boat sailing class. And we also have various numbers: kayaking, paddleboarding, various activities that they can do down on the waterfront. This year, what we're doing with some of the more intensive merit badges, such as we'll talk about this in the schedule, but we will have longer periods of merit badge for the ones that are more intensive, so that the scouts get their time in and are able to really develop those skills as well as get to their next merit badges on time. I don't know, do you want to say anything else about that, Davey or Riley?
I'm just going to add that I made a mistake, and it was pointed out to me. Water sports, we are offering water sports merit badges, not on this list. So it should have been on that list. So there's that. And another point, Wes commented about the fees. So the only ones we're going to be asking for extra fees up front for our shooting sports, motor boating, and welding and horsemanship. They're the higher cost ones. But otherwise, things like basketry and leather work where a scout needs a kit, they will be able to buy that kit in the trading post at camp, and that's how that will work out.
Okay. Yeah, really when it comes down to those more intensive badges, we've seen the majority of these, and even taught Wes and I at different camps, many of these merit badges, and we know that many of them can be done in that hour time constraint. But like Davey and Wes were saying, we're trying to make accommodations for those more intensive ones just to make sure the scouts get the full experience on those badges and that they're able to go home really feeling like they've accomplished those skills. So the daily schedule, as you guys know, the check-in on Sunday is actually going to be between 1 and 4:30 p.m. We're going to try to get everyone in by 5. One thing that we would really ask your cooperation with is to abide by that check-in schedule, to show up when you're allotted. We are going to try to make it as efficient as possible. We're working hard with our waterfront director to make sure that's a fluid and smooth process. One of the things that will facilitate that and will really start the week off right is if people are arriving, and absolutely it's fine if we get there a little early or a little late. That is always to be expected. But just to be able to shoot for that time is going to make a big difference for us in starting the week right. After that, once we get in, there is a little bit of time allotted there that you'll be able to get settled into camp just about an hour or so before dinner, depending on how early you get there. Your troop friend will be with you to, first of all, get to bond with the scouts, get to know them, give them a tour of the camp, let them know where the facilities are. That way, the next morning, when we have open merit badge time, they'll know exactly where the shooting range is. They'll know exactly where the waterfront is, and they'll know what they can do at those different places to make sure that's fluid for the next day's open activity time. There will be a Scoutmaster and Senior Patrol Leader meeting that night as well. We try to be really involved in getting the senior leaders to not only work with the staff, but then once we go back, instead of having the Scoutmasters and Scout leaders doing all the organizing of the troop and camp, we try to give them a lot of instruction in those meetings so that they can be the ones directing their troop and fulfilling their responsibilities there. Like we brushed on earlier, we will have a Scout Zone all-denominational service that night, so we're really excited about that, followed by our flag ceremony and opening campfire. We feel like that's just a really good way to kick off the week, get everyone excited, and then, like I said, at the end of the night, as we wind them up in the campfire, we also like to wind them down towards the end so that hopefully it's a little bit easier for you as their leaders to get them settled down in camp afterwards. With the daily schedule, we actually have campsite inspections and Senior Patrol Leader every day except for Thursday, which will be, it'll just be an inspection done by the Senior Patrol Leader before hike day. The reason we have it set up in the morning is we feel that it's a really good way to let the troop bond and unify and improve as a group. We've seen throughout the week, if they're getting feedback regularly at the same time, we usually announce the high scores at the flag ceremony. It's really a way to motivate them to see where they could do better and to give them the chance to improve upon that every single day. In order to make that a very efficient process, because we want to make sure we get everyone to flags, to breakfast on time so that we can get on with our schedule in an orderly fashion, we're not only going to have our commissioners be doing that, but we're also going to have some of our 18-year-old staff dispersed through the camp running some of those inspections. That way it won't really be the pile-up and the constant waiting for the inspections to take place. And we're also going to make sure our staff is very well trained that anytime we do have, while waiting for those inspections to take place, that they're taking the time to work with the troop, get them ready, see what they needed to fix last time, and making those changes. It really is amazing to see the troop in uniform all working together to clean and better their camp and to take care of our wilderness. It's a great experience there. So one important thing also is swim checks on Monday. On Monday, we have them scheduled between breakfast and lunch. We feel that with Sunday, we have done some swim checks on Sunday before, especially when we have bigger groups, just because we try to make accommodations and ensure that it's not going to be too much of a pileup on Monday. The reason we do it on Monday at that time is we feel that since we'll already have everyone in camp, it'll be a lot easier to have them down at a specific time, get them done with their swim checks at a specific time so that we can keep that order. Many times if we schedule them for Sunday, life happens and we may not get into camp right at the time we thought, and that postpones swim checks and kind of throws off the schedule. So that's what we have set up for swim checks right now. Obviously, we are always open to your input, and that's one of the biggest purposes of this meeting is to receive that input from you guys as well. You can see on the schedule that we've got the merit badge sessions scheduled. So they're usually blocks except for those hour-and-a-half blocks like we talked about for the more intensive merit badges. We do not have merit badges on Thursday for hike day. Like Wes says, it's a real time to get the kids out of camp and make sure that
started.
And it's a great time to make sure that they don't Friday burnt out on those merit badges. It gives them a chance to kind of refresh, make sure that when they come back on Friday, they have all the energy in the world. And we know that some people may ask if there is enough time to finish those merit badges. Like Wes said, we've worked at camps in northern, southern California, in Wyoming, and we have seen these merit badges and even taught these merit badges and seen how possible it is to fulfill the merit badges and to do it right in those time constraints. So we're really excited about this new program. You can see also, like you said, every evening we do have an activity set up. We know that, like you said, if scouts are left on their own, they are going to come up with some pretty unique games, which are good for a while, but those situations can digress quickly. So we try to make sure that they can have those bonding experiences in an environment where we have supplied the activity for them. We've planned different things throughout the week. Some focus more on scouting skills, some more on enjoying themselves and troop bonding as a unit. But we have really seen how those scheduled activities at night can bring a troop together and can also keep them on the right track and from getting into any trouble while they're at camp. Let's see. And do you have anything else on the daily schedule, Wes?
Just thing I would note is the Scoutmaster Roundtable will be at the same. It's on a different hour than the others, and that hour is to be announced. We're considering doing it during third merit badge hour, but they will be during the same hour every day. Monday shows it on a different hour, but we'll be doing the Scoutmaster Roundtable at the same time, same hour slot every day. Do you have anything to add on to our daily schedule?
I don't think so. There is, I'm seeing some questions and just some comments coming through. And like I said before, we are going to be sending out a questionnaire, an online survey with room to add suggestions or thoughts. I saw something about sailing in the afternoon because there's more wind in the afternoon, and that makes a lot of sense. So that might be something that we need to talk to, but we definitely let us know when we get that survey out. Any thoughts like that that you think that we should consider or be aware of. So. All right. You guys good on the program stuff then, Wes and Riley?
I feel like we are, unless you have anything else, Wes.
I just been seeing some questions come up as far as hike day affecting schedule. Like I said, it is a work in progress as far as that goes. But we have both witnessed it work, and it work wonders. We both feel that it brings something that is very much valuable, and it is something that is hard. I noticed some questionings on the scheduling. We're shooting for Thursday. We have another camp that is doing hike day nearby. They're doing it on Wednesday, and the Forest Service doesn't want us out at the same time. We want it on Thursday. Like I said, one of the advantages is giving the scouts that mental break and giving them something that breaks routine. That's one of the whole ideas behind it, and get them to experience something that they haven't experienced yet. And so that's why we're not looking to do it on Friday.
And we've also seen that, like Wes said, it is going to be hard not only for scheduling, but it's a hard thing. And I feel like that's actually one of the beauties of Hike Day, is helping to teach these boys to do hard things. I can't count the number of scouts that, as we've gone out, some of the ones that were least excited about it, to head out in the morning, at the end of the week, or even years later when I've talked to them, I still have a relationship with some of the scouts that I was their troop friend when I was 16 years old. And it's so cool to be able to see how I've even had some of them tell me that when they're confronted with hard situations in life, when they're at a point where they don't think that they can handle what's on their plate, they know if they could make it up Cardiac Hill in Yellowstone, if they could make it to the top, if they could make it that 8 miles, that 16 miles back to camp, they knew they could handle whatever they could whatever was on their plate at this time. And so I just really know that even though it may be difficult, and the reason we're encouraging everyone to participate in this is because we know that there is such a reward for these boys in doing hard things. And this is a lesson that they will probably remember long after they have forgotten many of the merit badges. Knowing that they can handle things that they didn't think they could before is a life lesson that we hope to instill. And not only that, but to instill in one of the most beautiful places in the world. So.
All right. So I'm gonna. We're gonna
say something real quick, Davey.
Oh, sure. Sorry, Wes.
There's been some questions on if we're still doing the cooking in camp day, and we are. It will be in the leader's guide. That's just something that didn't get into this copy of the schedule, but we do plan on still having an in-camp cooking day. That will be on Wednesday, where the scouts will be able to make their own meals. One thing that we ran into last year is just with the new camp management, with the leader's guide and some mismatching information, we didn't realize that there would be stress on camp equipment with the in-camp cooking day. So we do encourage troops to bring their own camp cooking equipment, especially the troops that are larger. We had issues with last year is the one stove that the camp had for them was not adequate for their numbers, took them longer. So we encourage you to bring your own camp cooking equipment, but keep in mind that we will have some equipment available for emergencies and for when troops need that equipment.
Great. All right. Thank you. So, and we're going to keep trying to respond to some questions. I'm going to start talking about the really fun stuff like payment schedules and registration and paperwork and stuff like that. But again, we will be sending out a survey where there will be opportunities to provide suggestions or feedback on different things, and also kind of give your opinion on some of the things we discussed with the program here this evening. So be looking for that sometime tomorrow. We drafted it this evening, and we'll put some finishing touches on it after the meeting here, and hopefully get it out tomorrow afternoon. So I'm going to talk now about payment deadlines. It'll go really fast. This was in an email that I sent out a few days ago. And actually, real quick, just so everybody's aware, all of the emails that I'm sending out, I just pulled up our Helpful Oljato Documents website. So if you go to pacsky.org, go to Camps Facilities, Camp Oljato, and then click on Helpful Documents, I'm posting all of the emails I send out to leaders this year right there on that page. And we're also posting the online registration instructions that we're publishing on that page too. So if you lose an email or want to get a new leader up to speed or anything like that, definitely make sure you check that out. Everything will be available there. Excuse me. So kind of our payment schedule, I'm going to go over it here. Payment schedule, $150 per unit for a week of camp. That is a deposit. It's non-refundable, but it does apply to your overall fees. That's what everybody who's on this call paid when your unit first registered to go to camp this summer. And that, like I said, applies to the overall fees. So in our registration system called Scout Tools, it goes into what's called your contingent account, and then you can use that to apply towards anybody's individual fees. You can also just leave it in there. A lot of units will leave it in there so that they can apply it for their deposit for the next summer. And then the next thing, the next payment due is March 1st. That's when we're asking for $100 per person. That confirms each individual person. So when you do that, and I'm going to go over some brief instructions on how to do that here in a minute. When you do that, you're going to need to put a name in. So that's when you're actually confirming actual people attending camp. You can add people after March 1st, but in order to register people for merit badges or for adult training classes, I saw a question about if adults will be able to register for BSA lifeguard, and they will, and that'll be online. In order for people to be able to register for all those classes, that would need to be paid, and the class registration will open March 1st. And then the balance for your unit is due May 1st. Again, you'll be able to add people after that if we have the room, but they will also be incurring the late fee, which I'm going to go over that in a minute. We are experiencing some very fast-paced registrations for Oljato this summer. We've already surpassed last summer's registrations, and if history is any guide, we'll be seeing quite a few more for this summer. Weeks 4 and 5 are already closed. We capped them at 300 people. So that was one of the reasons in the last email, or the first email I sent out. I asked if you want to adjust your estimated numbers at all to let me know as soon as possible, because we're trying to make sure we can get everybody in. And I just saw a question come across. Yes, we'll open Merit Badge registration on March 1st at 9 a.m. Pacific time is when it will start. I don't think we have anybody who's not in Pacific time, but just in case. So then looking at the fees, the early bird fee, that only applies if your unit registered prior to October 1st. If they did, though, and any of the individuals that you register, that early bird fee will apply to them until May 1st. If you register participants after May 1st, though, you will have to pay the late fee for them. That does not apply to scouts who just crossed over from Webelos in spring of 2017. We do realize that happens late, and we want to make sure our first-year scouts get a good opportunity. But for everybody else, please make sure you get them fully registered, and that $100 deposit per person paid, and the balance paid by May 1st to avoid having late fees per person. The regular fee is if your unit registers between October 1st and May 1st, and again, confirm the individuals. So that's kind of the breakdown of the payment fees and deadlines. Please, if you have any questions about that at all, feel free to send me an email, and we'll get you taken care of. So I'm going to pull up the web page here right now to go through a couple things. In the first email I sent out, there were links to a couple of pages of instructions that have screenshots. They look like this. One is how to deposit funds to your contingent account, and the other is how to register and confirm individuals. That's the thing you need to do prior to March 1st in order for them to sign up for merit badges. I'm going to walk through a couple of things real quick. I have a test registration set up. I don't know if there is actually a Nowhere Wyoming, but that's what I went with. When you go to your online registration page for your unit, this is what it's going to look like. And as you can see, anybody who's registered, they paid the $150, so it's sitting here in a contingent account. Like I said, you can use that to apply to fees if you like. Then you can add money to the contingent account so that you can use that to pay fees. And you do that by clicking on the contingent account tab, click make a payment or deposit. That does not apply money to the payments required. It's basically kind of like a savings account within our system that you can draw money from to pay the fees. And the instructions for adding money to that were put in that email. So what I'm going to do here real quick, and we'll be sending out detailed instructions on this, but I'm going to take you very quickly through how to register a new participant, and that's what you'll need to do for each person you have confirmed by March 1st. You simply click on participants, click register a new participant, click whether they're a scout or an adult, click next, and then determine how much you want to pay. So if you only want to pay the minimum due by March 1st, select that, click next, put their name in, and an email address, usually the parent if it's a youth. Click next. Fill in any of this information. The only thing required is a date of birth. And then you can either select activities at that time or do it later. I'm not going to do it at that time right now because I'm going to go through that real quick separately. So I'm going to say do not want to choose activities, click next. And then if you want to use money from your contingent account, yes, apply the full amount due from the contingent account, or no, I do not want to apply, yada, yada. Click next. Save it to your shopping cart, click Next, and then you're going to come to your shopping cart, or then you click to view the shopping cart, and you go through the checkout process. The other thing I'm going to show you real quick is how to sign Scouts up for those merit badges or adults up for those training sessions. So when you're back at the contingent page, go to Participants, click the individual, click on Activities, hover over Options, and click Edit Participant Information. This is where you can edit all of their personal information, or if you click Activities right here, then click Add New. You can select one activity at a time. It is a little bit cumbersome, and I apologize for that, but it is what we have. From this, folks that attended Oljato last year know that one thing we started doing was asking people to rank their choices, and then the goal is to get Scouts into all of their merit badges. We're not trying that again, but we're doing some cleanup with how the registration process goes, and Wes and Riley have committed to contacting units no less than 10 days ahead of their arrival at camp to confirm what their Scouts are in. But the easiest thing to do is register them for all four, their top four choices, and they are more than likely going to be able to do all four, if not more. The one thing to avoid is probably picking four that are going to fall into the category of the what Wes and Riley called the more intensive classes, because we are scheduling those for longer periods of time, and they're also program areas that have a lot of open program time demand. It'll be in the Leader's Guide which ones are falling into those areas, but they're going to be shooting sports, climbing, and the boating classes. So then you rank the class and click Save. Sorry,
Can I say something on that, Davey?
Yeah, absolutely.
One of the confusions that we had last year is people believed that those choices would be merit badge hours. And so they came to camp believing that they knew where each Scout was supposed to go. And so just know when you're registering that those are your preferences, not the number of the merit badge hour.
Correct.
That way you don't get confused. We will do that sorting because it will really depend on what the merit badges are and how many boys want each class. So we'll sort that out. So just know that when you get to camp, we'll let you know what classes and what hours each boy has. Right.
And that's why they also, if you were watching while I was doing that, instead of session numbers, it says first choice, second choice, third choice, fourth choice. So pick the 4 merit badges the Scout wants to do, and then pick whether it's their first choice or their fourth choice or whatever. And then you click Save, and that's done. So that was a real brief, quick thing. I'm going to put together a similar thing as to this that has screenshots and step-by-step instructions, and push that out there too. There's a few questions that have come across while I've been talking. Yes, payments, that first $100 per Scout, it needs to be in by March 1st in order for them to be able to register for merit badges on March 1st. Each unit does get 2 complimentary adult registrations. We'll be pushing out the information on how to apply that so you don't get that charge. Food needs, you can always put that in the special needs part on the registration page, but we also have a form we'll be pushing out that we'll ask you to fill out and send in. That would be the ideal way. We do have gluten-free options, and units will be contacted at least no less than 10 days in advance to confirm what merit badges Scouts have. I think that answers all the questions that came across while I was chatting there. And we'll go back to the slides. So the last thing I wanted to do, we'll be publishing this, but trying to get some checklists put together for units for planning. I know most of the units that are on this call tonight, you are on top of things. You're very well-run units because you made your registrations early, and you have people attending a call mid-December. We will have units registering in January, February, March, maybe even April or May. But for everybody, I wanted to get some information out about what you should probably be working on any given month or 2 months. And so this gets you until our next online meeting. It's pretty straightforward, and like I said, we'll be publishing it. But big thing you want to do, if you haven't already, is determine who your camp's registration coordinator is. That's the person that's going to be managing that registration page online, adding merit badges for scouts, making sure things are paid, and all that good stuff. Register for the pre-camp leaders meetings. It's not required that you register, but it is good because that way we know for sure, and not everybody that not everybody is listed in the email blasts that we get. And I am going to make a pitch for, I would encourage everybody to add as many adult leaders that are attending camp as contacts to your registration as possible, because then they will get all the emails that we send out. And yes, this slide will be available to download. I'll actually put the whole presentation online here tonight, and we'll be sending this slide out in another format as well that might be a little easier. Share the leaders guide, inform scouts and parents of dates and fees if you haven't already. The big thing is provide that list of merit badges to scouts. We are trying to get that leaders guide out here very quickly, but we will be publishing the merit badge list for sure. And once we have the opportunity and give you guys the opportunity to fill out that questionnaire and give us some feedback after this meeting, I think we'll probably get the leaders guide finished up fairly fast, but some of these things will get out before that. Ask scouts to select their top 4 merit badges by February 15th. That gives your registration coordinator enough time before March 1st to know what they are going to be selecting. And then collect that $100 payment from everybody by February 15th so that your unit has the money to be able to pay us in order to register those scouts for merit badges. YPT, any adult attending camp, regardless of whether they are a member of the Boy Scouts of America or not, must have current youth protection training through the stay in camp. And so please make sure you get on that early. Everybody does have to have a BSA health and medical record within the past 12 months signed by a physician, so make sure people are scheduling those annual physicals. And then review the tour and activity plan procedures to begin providing your travel. That's a great tool for your unit. I'm sure a lot of you are using it, but it does help make sure that you have enough cars, you have the appropriate insurance, and everything else to make sure that you can get to and from camp safely and following BSA policies. So that is the checklist for January and February to kind of get you started on planning for a great summer at camp. Wes or Riley, do you have anything else to add on that?
I don't have anything there for you.
Okay.
Are you talking about just specifically about the or just the registration, or in general?
Anything on registration or anything in general, I guess.
Okay. I've just noticed that there's been some questions as far as the merit badges go. Yeah, there will be 3 merit badges that they'll be pre-registered for, and the leader's guide will have prerequisites in there for what they should do before they come to camp for certain merit badges.
And then I'll just respond to a couple other questions here. We are going to try to wrap this up so that we can get people off the phone, but most of the merit badges we're offering, other than the ones that are going to be in those hour-and-a-half time blocks in the morning, are practical for doing during open program time. So a scout isn't limited to 3 or 4 merit badges. They can do as many as they're able to complete and want to work on. It's just up to them how much time they want to spend on it. So that is not a problem. And also, as far as the arrival time on Sunday, what Wes and I have discussed doing is that'll be communicating at the same time as the final merit badge plan, so at that 10 days ahead of camp at least, to let people know what time they should arrive on Sunday so that we can have it coordinated well. So,
also, as far as merit badges go, when you're registering the boys for merit badges online, just keep in mind that they are boys. their kids, and their opinion will change. That's one of the biggest things that we dealt with last summer. We were trying to have our merit badge schedules out beforehand, but then a boy comes to camp and either changes his mind or he doesn't pass the swim check, and then he can't do the swimming merit badge or one of the waterfront merit badges. So just remember that. So we will send those out, but then there will always be coordination once you come to camp. We'll remind you what classes they're signed up for, and then we'll take care of any last-minute changes that need to happen.
And that's also a reason why we've reduced the number of merit badges that require any sort of payment ahead of time. It really is, it's the 3 shooting sports, motorboating, welding, and horsemanship. And those are because either they have a higher cost to them. Horsemanship, for instance, is we use an external vendor, and that's simply a pass-through. We're paying that vendor. Welding, there's a lot of material, including steel and other things that are expensive. But then there's also things that it's harder to get if we can't plan ahead of time for it, such as plenty of shotgun shells and things like that. So there's the 6 merit badges that there will be a fee for ahead of time. Otherwise, it'll be buying the necessary items in the training post or coming with the items if they like. So we're going to wrap it up now. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Any questions we didn't get to or anything like that, please feel free to shoot me an email. Everybody should have my email address, and it is also on our website. And we will be posting the recording of this online. There's going to be like a 30-second gap. I don't know if you noticed that, but I made a mistake and accidentally hit the button halfway through. But other than that, it'll be fine. So if anybody in your unit wasn't able to attend, they can watch it. And then also watch for an email tomorrow so that you can see that survey. And if you do have any feedback to give us on anything we've discussed tonight, please utilize that survey so that we can manage the information and data effectively, make the best decisions. And yes, we will be posting the PowerPoint online as well on that helpful documents page. So thank you all very much. Thank you to Wes and Riley. And we will talk to everybody again in March, if not sooner. Have a great holiday time and Happy New Year to everybody. Thank you.